Breathe in, tummy bulging out, and breathe out. So, what we have done now is told our nervous systems to calm down. Okay. So, I want to know which city are you from? Just put the name of the city in the chat. History officer. Sure. Okay, ma'am. Right. So, whatever I'm going to teach from now is based on three beliefs. Three beliefs, that is value, freedom, and family. So, freedom, family, and service, these are the three beliefs on which we will be discussing. So, what is freedom? Freedom, that every child deserves emotional freedom, not the freedom that they can do anything that they want, but the freedom to express their emotions whenever they feel angry. The second belief on which we're going to share today's content is family. So, strong families are not the ones where no one ever gets angry, but strong families are the ones where anger is handled with dignity. There is no damage done because of anger. So, once anger, the phase has passed, you can connect with them, and that kind of respect is there or commitment is there towards each other. So, anger where repair happens, that is the kind of family we want to create, and where love doesn't disappear when the storm hits. Okay. So, anger is a very common emotion, it's a natural emotion, but what we do with the anger is what is important. Then, the third belief that we all believe in is service. One in three children, one in three is a significant number, and these children are not having emotional regulation at present. They are so dysregulated right now. So they are actually struggling. It is not for fun that they're not able to, that they are having angry, but they're actually struggling. And most of them are in homes and classrooms where no adult has been given the tools to help. And we here exist to change that. And these are the classes where we actually start. So, which value lands for most for you right now? Please put it in the chat box. Which value do you think is resonating most with you? Right. So, yeah. So today I'm going to tell you, before we begin, go any further, I want to tell you that it is going to last for 90 minutes, and I suggest you to take notes. Family, yes. Family, service, okay, freedom. So a lot of answers coming in. So I want you to take notes because there are some things that you may find new today, and I want you to go back to it whenever there is a trouble, or whenever there is a situation that you might need to go and have a look at it. So, and any questions that you have, please put it in the chat box, and yeah, please put it in the chat box. We will take all those questions towards the end of it. Right. So anger is actually not the problem. The problem is we think that anger is a problem. And anger is actually a signal. And the problem that what we do is we treat the anger and we do not see the underlying problem. So I'm going to bust some myths also today. So today I'll give you three secrets which you will not find in any parenting magazine, and they are insights from neuroscience, developmental psychology, and over 15 years of pediatric experience and working with multiple children and hundreds and thousands of children and families. And I'm going to give you them for free. Right. So the anger blueprint will tell you why your child gets angry and one brain fact that will permanently change how you respond. And once you know this, you cannot unknow it. Secret number two is the age decoder, wherein I will tell you why the same child needs a completely different strategy at the age of 3, at the age 9, and at the age of 15, and why exactly and what to do at each stage. I will also give you the repair system, which is secret number three, which is a 4-step framework that you can start implementing from today itself. This is not about preventing anger. This is about building a family or a classroom where anger does not destroy relationships. And what I want from you is to take notes. So I want to tell you why I do this work. I did not start to become anger expert, but what I saw was anger was causing a lot of damage to children, their mindsets, and they grow up as individuals later in life and project the same kind of anger and chaos around them. So imagine multiple such children going into society, becoming heads of families, and then dropping their anger everywhere. How chaotic this is, right? So that is the reason I wanted to change this. And I personally have gone a massive transformation. A person, a girl who used to get angry at the nick of the moment to somebody who's becoming very calm and composed. I do not remember when I snapped at my children last. Maybe it has been more than 2 to 3 weeks. So I don't want basically any child to grow up and believe that their emotions make them bad. I don't want them to feel that they are difficult to handle children. So we wish to change one child at a time, one family at a time, one society, and altogether the generations at time. That is our mission. And together, if we do this right, we create an army of emotionally intelligent families and changing one child at a time and one household in one generation. Just type a yes in the chat box if this resonates with you. Yes, right. Let's go ahead. And before we move any further, I want to share a few clients, the stories of clients who I work with. And let us begin by seeing about a 4-year-old child. So this 4-year-old, Priya is the name of the mother, and Arjun was 4 years old. There were 3 incidents of biting another child. So you can imagine the impact that a mother whose child has been bitten can get, and the kind of emotional, mental turmoil that the mother of the child who has bitten has undergone. So Priya, as a mother, had tried timeouts, removing toys and lectures, but nothing changed for this 4-year-old boy. She was desperate seeking treatment for the child, and she told me that because the child was biting, the child is obviously, the parents are obviously being called for interrogation, and the reason why the child has been behaving like that, was there any medical problem that may be causing these kind of situations? So she said that when she was walking into the room, everybody looked at her like a failure and she was exhausted and mentally tired. She had tried everything that she could think of: timeouts, taking away favorite toys, and the big boys don't cry conversation. And every single day, nothing had changed. So What we discovered while discussing with Priya and Arjun was that Arjun wasn't biting because he was bad, because his brain only knew, his 4-year-old brain was still developing, and that is the only language he had been taught. So the thinking brain, the cortical part of the brain, had been hijacked by emotion. He had no vocabulary for what he was feeling. There was no strategy for what to do, and biting was the only tool his body had known to say, "Stop, I'm overwhelmed, and this is too much." So we introduced two things in him: the name it to tame it technique, where the mother and the father had learned to get down to his level, make an eye contact, name the feeling before anything else. And the second thing that we introduced with him was a calm down corner at home, a cozy, safe space that was only his, which was not a punishment but a tool. And 3 to 4 weeks later, the mother sent a message to us that there were no biting incidents at daycare, totally zero. And the teacher had told the mother there was a conflict between the two boys, and Arjun had pulled himself away and started reading a book. He had taken himself to the safe corner that he had identified at school and kept him engaged. This is what we are aiming at, creating calm from chaos. So she didn't get a new child, but she got tools, and the child also got new tools. So that way, the anger management changed the lives of Priya and Arjun at home and at school. So let's look at another child in a different age group, about 9-year-old child. This is about a couple, and this couple had homework tantrums with their child. So Meera and her husband were on the verge of taking their 9-year-old child to a psychiatrist for psychiatric evaluation, because every single homework session was ended up in explosion. The boy would scream that the work was stupid and he would not like doing the work. He would throw papers, crayons, pencils, and this would turn the homework time into a war zone. He would often say that I am the dumbest person in the entire class. It had been going on for months now, and the parents were walking on eggshells. The siblings were anxious, and the household was suffering. It all revolved around Rohan's mood. When we worked with Meera, she had come to seek some medication to improve his memory and to help him obey his parents. So we mapped what we call the anger iceberg. This technique I'm going to teach you in the next few minutes. And what we found out was underneath the homework rage was there was profound shame. The boy had been sitting in classrooms entire year comparing himself with other children, and he had concluded in his 9-year-old mind that he was fundamentally less intelligent than everybody else around him. The homework part was not hard. The homework was evidence, evidence for a story that he had created himself in his mind. And once we understood this, the entire strategy of management changed. We stopped addressing the anger and the shame and start we stopped addressing the anger and started addressing shame. In 6 weeks, the daily meltdowns dropped to twice a month, and there was 80% reduction without medication, without a psychiatric evaluation, and with the right framework and right tools. So these are not some fancy stories that I'm sharing with you. These are real life stories which actually underwent transformation after using the tools. So the third case study is about a couple and their teenage daughter. So this is about Suresh and Kavya and their child about 15 years of age. Suresh had described his relationship with his daughter as a broken one. Can you imagine how difficult it is for a parent to describe the relationship with their child as the broken one? It is quite painful, right? All of us here are parents to our children, and it is deeply mortifying to know that your child thinks that the relationship is broken. So the girl, the 15-year-old girl, had stopped talking to both parents. Any limit they set, any boundaries, any rule had triggered a massive rage, followed by days of cold silence. The father said to me, like, he felt like he has lost her. And definitely, it is very painful for a parent to believe this and to hear phrases like this from parents. So, the problem with working with teenage children is that the relationship repair takes longer because the damage is not just superficial, it has gone deeper. The trust damage runs deeper and it has to be rebuilt very carefully. By using connection before correction and building what we call as a family anger agreement over about 8 weeks period, the relationship gradually began to shift. It did take a long time for us, but it started to shift and it was seen as beginning of a change. 8 weeks into the sessions, the father messaged us saying that she is ready to talk and she's actually listening to them. So, over a period of time, their relationship and the bond got better. They are into 6 months into our sessions now. So this is what I call it as the anger iceberg. The anger is the part that you see on the outer side, the outburst, the yelling, the hostility, sarcasm. But what actually is underlying it is the sadness, fear, frustration, hurt, exhaustion, anxiety, hurt, and embarrassment. So we usually treat this part of the anger. We do not go and see the underlying feelings. This is where the problem starts when you start just addressing what you're looking at and not looking at the things beneath it. So these are the three different, I picked up these case studies so that each child from a different age group can be shown to you as to what tools we use to help them change from chaos to calm. Now let's move further. I want to share 6 problems with you, and please make a note of these problems. And whichever problem resonates with you, please type that number problem in the chat. So, the first one is the public meltdown. So, what usually looks like at a public place, in a supermarket, at a birthday party, or at a school event, when everybody is around and when you know everyone is watching, you feel the heat of 1,000 eyes watching on you, and you want to just disappear from that place. And your child loses it all and is throwing tantrums, rolling on the floor, and people are staring at you. And what you do then is the exactly wrong thing, shouting, yelling, beating, and take the child back because you're so desperate to make this tantrum stop. How many of you have faced this? If yes, type a yes in the chat box. Sounds familiar, right? Yeah. So the second one, let's go ahead. Keep typing, whichever resonates with you. The homework war. So at the time of homework, every session is a battle. Every single study session, there are papers flying around, pencils, crayons, and the door slam. Your child says something very cruel, and you respond instantly and in a way that you feel guilty later on. And by the end of it, by the time the last worksheet is done, you feel guilty, you are regretting what has happened, but you cannot do anything more. You're actually in a survival mode. So, how many of you have gone through this situation? It may not be always session, but once in a while this happens. This is me. Is that what you feel? Type a yes in the chat. Every day I face this situation, right? Next, the sibling storm. You have perfect kids, you leave them and go to the washroom or go and try to make a cup of tea for yourself. The moment you disappear from their eyes, you hear a loud scream and there is a complete chaos there. Both of them fighting, and you feel like a referee, not like a parent. And you wonder whether they're going to hate each other their entire life. How many of you have been through this? Any parents with sibling storms? Yes, I can see that. Let's go ahead and yeah. So some threes also I can see in the chat. The teen wall. Your teenager has shut you out completely. You ask something, only monosyllables, yes, okay, fine, is what they say. And the eye roll that makes you want to scream your heart out, and any limit you try to hold triggers an explosion. You are grieving the child who used to talk to you and grieving the relationship, the cherish you, the bond you used to cherish. And under the same roof, you feel like you're in two different rooms. Any parents of teenagers here? Yeah. So they are in their own world and you're not allowed inside their world, and you feel completely shut out. This is the teen wall. Coming to the next problem, problem number 5, the school call. The moment you see some administration calling from school, your heart beats faster. You feel butterflies in the stomach and you feel dread before you even answer, because you know it means trouble again. And you wonder what people must think, what teachers think, what other parents think, and the fear that your child must be labeled difficult. And that feeling scares you the most. You know, the thing with labeling the child, it destroys their self-esteem and confidence, and it takes a toll on their mental health. It is very difficult for them to pull them back from the time from when they are labeled. Coming to the last problem, and this is the one that nobody talks about loud. And I want to talk a little more on this. It is called the mirror moment. When you catch yourself screaming back, 99% of the time, most parents are in this zone. And this is a problem I'm sure most of you face also. So, when your anger meets with your child's anger, there is a storm. And afterwards, what happens is a silence. Silence before a next bigger storm. Okay. The door gets slammed, the house is settled, and then you feel the shame, the guilt, the regret. You think, how should I stop this? And how do I not become the parent I never wanted to be? So, none of us want to be angry at our kids, right? All of us love our kids so much so that we make everything very comfortable for them. But then you find yourself there trying to shout back at them, uh, trying to reduce your own anger, but things are not working out when you're trying to do that. So you shout back. How many of you were raised in homes where there was argument, where there was a lot of angry moments? You saw your father snapping, your mother shouting. I just want an answer to that. How many of you have been through households like this? Any parent here where there was a very angry moment, very angry atmosphere at home? Okay. So now let's get back to the problems, the pain problems. Which of these is the most common one that you face? The public meltdown, the homework war, the sibling storm, the teen wall, the school call. Which of them is the most common one? Please type the number in the chat. Right. I'm reading your answers. How many ones? How many twos? Yeah, a lot of you are saying two, three. Some of you have five. Okay, some sixes coming in. Okay, great. So, like I told you, I didn't begin my journey to become an anger management coach or trying to teach people how to manage their own anger. It was because of my personal transformation that led me to help children at a younger age manage their emotions well so they grow up into emotionally healthy adults who will be able to take care of their relationships at home, relationships at a professional space, relationships with their peers. So managing emotions is the foundation of building a strong and healthy mental health. What we call this as a vaccination against mental illness. Supposing a child at 7 learns how to manage anger compared to a child who does not learn how to manage anger, he will grow up into an adult at 25, snapping at things, not able to take criticism, fighting with his peers, fighting with his spouse at home, and the children get affected. So we have to break this cycle. This has triggered me to start this journey of teaching children to manage emotions. And as a pediatrician, I don't think there is a better time to start teaching children rather than teaching adults. So, most of the people here are ladies in the group now. How many of you think that it is difficult? I mean, the males in the family, not in your family, probably the ones you see around, are another child whom you have to teach how to manage their own emotions. It is pretty common from where I see that the child has grown up into an adult but is not able to manage emotions, and their mood, their emotional damage affects the entire family. Yesterday alone, I was talking to a parent, and she says that her husband's mood decides the atmosphere of the home. Whether you are happy or not, it does not matter, but how angry he is or how happy he is decides the environment at home. Such a helpless kind of situation it is. I do not want children to go through that kind of damage. So that is why I'm on a mission to help a million families develop from chaos to becoming calm and give them the tools that are necessary to manage emotions. How many of you are with me? How many of you want to create an army of families like that? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. Right. Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you, Shweta. So let's go a little deeper now. I want to share three basic principles on which anger management is based. Okay. On these principles, the management of the emotions is built. Okay. So let's go to principle number one. Principle number one says that any emotion you take, be it anger, be it joy, excitement, sadness, depression, okay, stress, happiness, every emotion is only information. It is not a defect. If you're feeling anxious, there is something beneath it. If you're feeling sad, there is something beneath it. If you're happy, there is something beneath it. So, when we start looking at things that are deeper, it is easier for us to manage. So anger is also an emotion, and it is a very common emotion. It's a message, it's a signal. It's a signal that body is saying something is wrong. A need, a need is unmet, or a boundary is crossed. An injustice has occurred. It is some sort of information. And what we as adults do when we are not aware of it, we punish the signal. And when we send the child away, shame the feeling, silence the anger does not suppress, the anger does not disappear. It shows up later, probably days later, or months later, or years later. It could be seen as depression, it could be seen as passive aggression, it could be seen as an explosion at 40 years old in a boardroom. And everybody around you gets confused as to what happened. Okay, so when anger is heard, it becomes information, and that information becomes a change. This is what we are aiming at. So, emotion is information and it is not a defect. Coming to principle number 2, regulation before instruction. So, please write this down somewhere where you see it very frequently, or you could write now in your notes and stick it somewhere. Regulation before instruction. This is a sentence that changes how we look at a difficult moment. Can we teach a flooded brain, a brain which is already flooded with a lot of emotions? No, we cannot. So I'm going to teach one concept now. So I'm going to teach you a concept now, which is called as the amygdala hijack. Right. So imagine this is our brain. This is the almond-shaped structure, which is called the amygdala, which is responsible for all the vital functions of our brain. This part of the brain is responsible for all the survival functions, like heartbeat, respiratory rate, our all involuntary functions and the subconscious functions are taken care of by this amygdala. What is next is this is the cortical brain, which is called the thinking brain. Right. This is a thinking brain. This is a survival brain. When this part and this develops only at the age of, it is fully developed at the age of 25. It is not developed earlier. So whenever amygdala detects a threat in the form of physical, social, emotional threat, this part of the brain flips and it opens up and making amygdala the in charge of dealing with the threat. The prefrontal cortex, which is the thinking part of the brain, becomes offline. When it is in this phase, when it is closed like this, it is online and it is capable of thinking. But when this goes offline, this cannot think now. Who is responsible? Amygdala. And what is the function of amygdala? Fight, fight, or fright. Either it fights the situation, it flees away, or it freezes. So these are the three responses that are associated with amygdala. So when there is amygdala hijack, it is called. When there is a threat which is detected, this becomes offline and amygdala is in charge, and that is responsible for all the actions and the tantrums. Now, when you're trying to talk to your child in this phase, because the thinking part is offline, your child cannot make sense with whatever you're trying to tell. So what is our job? Our job is to bring it back online, make the child feel safe. Only then you give instructions that will be heard. I hope I'm clear. Whenever there is a threat that a child detects, if it is physical, social, emotional, the thinking part goes offline. So they will not be able to make any sense with whatever you're saying. So your job is to bring it back offline. How we are going to bring it back online is what I'm going to teach you in the next 20 minutes. So this is about connection before regulation before instructions. Okay. So calm them first and then teach is what we do. The next one, connection is the strategy. So the most powerful thing that we can do is that the most powerful thing that we can do to our child's anger is not a technique, it's not a strategy, and it is a relationship with a safe adult. John Gottsman's research spanning for 4 decades shows that the single best protective factor in a child's emotional dysregulation is a secure, connected relationship with at least one caring adult. You are not we are not teaching any strategy here. We are only teaching the child to have a safe relationship with an adult. So the safe adult is the strategy. Every child should have a single adult where the child feels safe, where the child feels ability to share anything that the child can share without judgment or criticism. So the single best protective factor against emotional dysregulation is a secure, connected relationship with at least one caring adult. You need not have both parents to care for the child, but even a single aware individual can change the trajectory of the emotional regulation of a child. So many of my friends and the clients who I work with ask me and my husband do not think of it in the same way, and we are on two different pages. And will this strategy work is what they ask. Yes, of course. Single regulated adult is enough to change the environment into a safe space. So there is no strategy here. The strategy is a calm, regulated adult. He or she can change the environment of the home. Right. Now let's get on to the solutions. So this is the part that you have been waiting for since so long, and I am going to give it away now. So the solution part is the secret one. I'm going to give you in the form of secrets. This is the anger blueprint. Like I already told you, amygdala is the brain's smoke detector, and its only job is to scan for threats, either physical, either social, or emotional. And when amygdala fires, what happens? Why is there a response? So, supposing your child is angry, there is a situation that causes your child to get angry. Somebody scolded them at school or something, they're angry. What happens when they're angry? This part becomes like this. Okay. And this is in charge now. When this part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, goes offline, this is online. And when this is in charge, your body is flooded with stress hormones. These hormones will cause increase in the heart rate, increase in breathing, clenching of teeth, clenching of fist. Okay, there is stomach ache in some children. So and all this because the muscles are flooded with blood and they become tense. There's a lot of energy. Sometimes they go and hit also. So you see most of the responses that are seen because of anger, all of them have a scientific evidence and the reason why it happens in a specific way. So the prefrontal cortex is the last part of the brain to fully develop and it is not mature until the mid-20s. So your teenager is not being deliberately difficult. Their brain is actually under construction. So like I told you, this part is responsible for surviving. So whenever there is a threat, this decides whether to fight, flee, or freeze. I hope I'm clear with this. Now, how many of you think that this was a bulb on moment or this was a new point for you? Please type a yes in the chat or give me a thumbs up or lots of hearts. Great. Okay. Now let's get on to our next secret, that is secret number two. This is the part which drives anger and which shows you why the same anger at different ages needs different management and what drives this anger. So, initially, the age 2 to 5 years, the autonomy years, ages 6 to 12 is the justice years, and ages 13 to 18 are the identity years. Yeah. So the core driver of anger in the preschoolers is autonomy. That means independence. The desperate developmental need to say that I am a separate person, I have a control over my world. When they can't access that control, when they can't do the thing themselves, then the plan changes. When someone takes their toy, the frustration is immediate and it is total. And because the vocabulary is still developing, the body takes over and it shows up in the form of hitting, biting, dropping to the floor. And most of us feel that they're manipulation techniques. They're not. They're actually communicating to us. And the child does not have any vocabulary at this age. The body only knows to show it in the form of physical tools, in the form of hitting, biting, etc. Now, coming to the justice years, here in the school age going children, they have developed a brain capacity to care deeply, sometimes almost pathologically, about fairness. Their basic idea is this is not fair, this is not, that's not fair. This is the common word that we use that comes out of these children between 6 to 12 years. They're entering into the social arena for the first time, and the sense of belonging, the sense of status, friendships, and these are beginning to matter in ways they feel enormous. And here is the insight. I want you to write this down. Anger always in school going children is associated with the shame. There is always shame or guilt underneath it. And that is the reason why there is anger. The explosion that we see is what we call it anger, but underneath it is somebody said that this is stupid and they slamming a pencil or crayons. And when there is fear, there is fear, fear of not being enough, fear of not being seen, fear of being judged, fear of failure. And when somebody says that I'm the dumbest person in whole class, it is not anger that is talking. It is shame wearing anger's clothes. If we treat anger as a problem, we will never get to the root of the problem. In fact, your child will go farther away from you instead of coming to you. So treat it as a shame problem, and your child's life will change from there on. Coming to the identity years, in the identity years, the adolescent brain is undergoing a massive developmental surge. The limbic system, which is responsible for emotional engine, is in hyperactive mode. Okay, so they're very sensitive to rewards. The cortex is the last to arrive, and the brain feels everything as overwhelmed. Okay, it is at an intensity that which cannot be matched throughout the entire lifetime. It is in the ages of 13 to 18 where it is developing, and it is highly sensitive. That is why teens are so difficult to handle, and they feel bad at a blink of moment. You need not say anything, and before that they will start feeling bad about it. Okay, the thing that they say, what it looks like at this age is, most common words that they say is I hate you. How many of you have heard that? I hate you. I'm overwhelmed, and you are the safest person in this. At this actually the decoding. When they say that I hate you, what they're trying to say is I don't feel safe here. Okay. So we have to understand that they don't actually mean it. What they want to say is I'm not feeling good here. I'm not feeling safe here. Try to help me. Okay. So any parents of teenagers here who have been through this, Answers, please. Right. Now let's get on to our uh, development, the management modules, the Age Decoder, and yeah, the strategies at different ages. So the strategies at ages 2 to 5 is name it to tame it, the calm down corner, validate, redirect, and choose, use dragon breathing, and you can read emotional books together. Okay. So when these are the tools that are best working at this age. In Name It to Tame It, we the basis of these tools is we use these tools when the child is calm, not when they're actually angry. When they're actually angry, it will not help them. It is not going to help them. So whenever a child is in a calm mode, we teach the feelings or emotions to them and then use it when they are angry. The calm down corner is a safe space at school and at home. The tools that we teach children to use whenever there is an angry moment and they want to go to that space. And the basis of all of this again is use it in a time when the child is calm and not in an angry moment, because it is not going to work. The brain cannot take all this or absorb this or understand this. The second strategy that we are going to tell in 6 to 12 age group is Anger Iceberg, 5 4 3 2 1 grounding technique, and cognitive reappraisal. In this age group, like I told earlier, there is shame underneath it. So if your child is in this age group of 6 to 12, try this. Draw an iceberg, show them what a tip of the iceberg looks like. The tip of the iceberg is the anger. And you could ask your child to fill the things below it. Below it, you could write fear, shame, embarrassment, loneliness, exhaustion, overwhelm. And our job is to go underneath it, become a diver, go underneath the surface and see what is causing the anger. Coming to the next technique, 5 4 3 2 1. Five things they will see, four things to touch, three to hear, two to smell, and one to taste. What this does is it interrupts escalation by activating the thinking brain by using sensory input. Okay. And the key to all of this is use one technique. In that age group, you stick to one technique that prevents confusion in children. And in 13 to 18 years of age group, connection before correction, and everything falls below it. The worst thing that we can do is immediately give them solutions. So whenever our child says, so I am into so and so problem, what we immediately do, we are immediately ready with one solution. Some of us jump with solutions, and the idea and the treatment at this stage is to say nothing, just be present with them. You could offer them a hug, a handshake, or just a rub on their shoulder, just to make them feel safe. Use your hands, use your body to make them feel safe. Give them a warm hug, which actually makes them feel safe. You need not say anything. You just have to be present there. This makes them feel safe, and then they start to open up. Then they start to talk even before you ask. They don't want you to give them solutions. They are developing their own opinions. You can support those opinions. They just want you to hear their problem and do not judge, do not criticize, do not do anything. Just be quiet and calm. Let them talk out. After that, you can offer solutions. For how many of you is this a bulb on? How many of you are learning a lot of new things? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Now let's get on to the secret number 3, which is the repair system. This is the solution that binds everything that we have taught into a single system. The goal is not to have one good day. The goal is to build something lasting. A home where anger is handled with dignity and where children learn from every difficult episode, where repair is as natural as the anger itself. So we are going to use these 4 steps, and the 4 steps, it is not in individual, it is a sequence. You could use it as individual, but you can use it as a chain of events, and that will help you give better results. So first thing is sit down with your child. You can sit with your spouse to identify the triggers. Identify, and not during the conflict, but on a calm day, map your most common anger triggers in the family. It could be it could be different for each person. It need not be the same for everybody. Okay. The common triggers are hunger, transition between activities, transition between schools, lack of sleep, screen time conflict, sibling conflict, morning rushes. So, all of these can be the triggers. What our job is to change it from reactive to proactive. So, you are proactively going to manage anger. You just need not react to anger, right? So, before the storm, you have an umbrella ready so that when anger comes, you are ready with the tools. So, first is identify the triggers. The second one is build a warning sign awareness. Everybody, be it yours or your child's, each one has some anger signals in their body. They could have hot ears, a change in the breathing pattern, a change in heart rate, tense muscles, clenched jaw, clenched fist, a change in the tone of the voice. You know, why is this important? Becoming aware of your own body signals helps helps you to become aware. When there is awareness, then there is early intervention. When there is early intervention, there is no explosion. And when there is no explosion, the home is calm, anger is managed. Okay. The third part, the repair system. One go-to strategy that you are going to use. We will not use 5 or 10 or 15 strategies. We just use one strategy per child. If your child is a preschooler, you could use the calm down corner. If your child is 9 to 4, if your child is somewhere between 6 to 12 years, you use the 5 4 3 2 1 grounding technique. If your child is a teenager, you could ask them to count back from 100 to 1, or put their headphones on, or go for a walk, or start reading, listening to music. So the key here also is practice when calm. And whenever there is anger, the child knows what to do, which strategy to go to. Make it automatic by repeating this language at home. When the child is calm, practice this. And when the storm comes, the child knows what to reach for. And that solves the problem. The fourth step is the last step, which is the repair ritual. After every anger episode, every single time without an exception, there should be a moment of reconnection. It could be a hug, it could be a note left on a pillow, it could be 5 minutes of sitting on the floor together, making a cup of tea together in silence. Every anger episode should be followed by reconnection. Now, we need not wait for our children to come to us to repair it. You are an aware individual, go to your child and repair it. So, when anger is handled in this way, it becomes information. Your child learns that whenever there is an angry episode, it can be handled safely, it can be handled securely, it can be managed properly. The information will stay with them over a long period of time, and they will start practicing it in their own lives. You need not teach them again to practice anger later on. So, what information does the child's brain read? That anger can be managed with love. You need not go in silence. You need not disrespect the other person. We can still love each other and move forward. That is the repair ritual. How many of you are liking this solutions? Raise your hands, please. I want to see a lot of hands. Some more hands, please. Right. Okay. Now let's go move forward. Thank you so much. Okay. So before we move on, there are some real objections in this room that I want to raise, and let us take one after the other. So the resistance that I get most often is I have tried talking to my child and it does not work. Like I told you, if you try talking during a time when the child is already having a meltdown or is already in an episode, the thinking brain is offline. You cannot talk to a door that is locked. Okay, this system does not ask you to talk during the storm. You have to talk during the calm moments and prepare the child, prepare yourself before you attempt to repair it. Okay, if you are trying to repair it in the heat of the moment, it is not going to work. Do not expect it to work, please. Next one. If I validate anger, won't there be behavior that is unacceptable? Yes, validating anger, we are validating the feeling. All feelings are welcome, but the behavior that is associated with that feeling is not welcome. Anger is an emotion, it is welcome. But what comes out of anger, hitting, bruising, beating, using offensive language, all that is not acceptable. You could use this statement. I understand that you're upset, but we do not do these things at our home. You're not allowed to throw these things at home. You're not allowed to behave in a particular way. When you set this boundary, the brain knows that it is safe. It also knows the boundary that what can be done, what is not done. The third question that I most oftenly get is my partner does it differently. Nothing I do will carry over. Like I told you already, one consistent, regulated, connected adult in a child's life creates measurable and lasting change that results in great emotional development of the child. You need not have your entire family, your in-laws family, your parents family to align and help the child. You need to be aware of yourself. One connected, regulated, and aware adult is more than enough. And consistency, if done over a period of time, creates safety, and this safety over time spreads. So I want you to take this questionnaire now. It is on a rate of 1 to 10, 1 being not true for me and 10 being consistently true and well. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes, 1 minute for 5 questions and another minute for another 5 questions. This is a self-assessment. It is your honest answer to yourself. It is not for anybody here. You can type it in the chat and the response will only come to me. It will not be shown to anybody else. And this is for you to discover where you need to improve, in which zone do you fall. So it's 12:02 right now. Let us give you time till 12:05, 3 minutes. Quickly read those questions and put an answer from rating from 1 to 10. We will sum up all the answers at the end. So each question, rate yourself from 1 to 10. Each question. So I'm changing the question. Please rate from 1 to 10. Not yes, sometimes, or no, but 1 to 10. If you think it is not true for me, is 1, and I do this consistently, is 10. So I'm changing the screen now. I deliberately repair the connection every time after every single angle episode. I model healthy anger management strategies. My child has seen me manage anger well. I can identify my child's early warning signs before escalation. I use age appropriate evidence based strategies consistently. My child can name what they're feeling, they have emotional vocabulary. So drop in your scores, total your scores, and drop it in the chat. So let us go and see what these scores mean. Some of you have scored 30, 66, 84. Very nice. 12, 2, and 10 plus 5, 20, 25, 28, 25, 26, 27, 27 plus 6, 33. Okay, right. So what do these scores mean? So 0 to 40 are in the critical zone. And this is not a diagnosis, okay? This is not a diagnosis. It is only to show you where you are. If you are not regulated, you cannot expect your child to be regulated. It's an honest picture of where the gaps are. And the most important thing where the biggest transformations happen are you have the longest gap. So it is easier for you to jump. Even a little jump, if you do, you will be in a safe space. The change from 0 to 100 is more powerful than a change from 90 to 100. So this phase is the most important phase and where transformation can be grossly seen. 41 to 70 is the building zone. You're doing some things right. You have laid some foundation, but what is missing is a system, a framework, and the strategies you have are working sometimes and failing at the other times because they are not connected. A structured program holds it together, and we help you build that consistency. The optimizing zone is a zone where there is a solid foundation. If you're between